The bicycle has done more for the emancipation of women than anything in the world. Susan B. Anthony, a women's rights activist and suffragist. This revolutionary invention changed the transportation industry and impacted the social norms and rights of women. Before the bicycle, the 19th century was filled with bumpy dirt roads, and the only way to get around was by horse carriages. Women had few opportunities for freedom and independence. Albert Pope changed this when he started his manufacturing career and created the chainless bicycle. He started to manufacture bikes in Hartford, Connecticut with a small company, and eventually grew to being the #1 bicycle company in America. These bikes revolutionized transportation for all people, along with breaking barriers in women's clothing and exercise norms.
Albert Pope's improvement and industrialization of the modern bicycle broke barriers not only in transportation, but in the start of the developing societal transformation of women in the 19th century. Pope was a Civil War veteran and the runner of a small shoe supply business when he decided to take a trip in 1876 to the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. There, he saw the classic high-wheel bicycle and was so intrigued that he decided to take it upon himself to introduce the vehicle to the American public.
In the mid-19th century, most bicycles had a high front wheel and a small back wheel. This bicycle was limited to only men because the skirts of girls and women would get caught in the high front wheel. Other transportation alternatives included carriages, streetcars, trolleys, or just walking. After Pope expanded his company, he modified the bicycle to allow equal-sized wheels with just one chain attached to the back pedal, calling it the safety bicycle. This new bike soon became one of the leading methods of transportation for women and children, as it was lighter and much easier to travel on. This broke physical barriers in transportation because now a much wider population had the ability to travel on their own comfortably. By 1880, the number of bicycle users had doubled to 150,000, many of whom were women. Pope didn't stop there, however. He added a measure on the back wheel to further prevent skirts from getting caught while cycling, and he later invented the Blue Streak Chainless, a bicycle with equal-sized wheels but without a chain to prevent the skirt from getting caught. Sue Macy, author of the book Wheels of Change, which focuses on the bicycle's impact on women, said in an interview,
The bicycle's an amazing invention because it's so linear. The impact of the bicycle on people's lives. Like, you get a bicycle, suddenly you can get places, suddenly you can meet new people, and you could be more productive. You cut hours out of your day if you're commuting somewhere, and you're healthier.
Pope's determination to improve bicycles for the benefit of his company and the benefit of women in Hartford broke barriers for the community by giving them access to better transportation. Using the popularity of the bicycle, Pope created the League of American Wheelmen. The League served the purpose of promoting cycling, better roads, and also increased the demands for his bicycles. This allowed for the bicycles to gain more popularity. This broke another transportation barrier, as the League helped a movement in which roads were greatly improved, since it is clearly easier to ride a bicycle on a nice paved road rather than a bumpy, rocky one. If Pope had not broken the transportation barrier with the chainless bicycle, it would have been much more difficult for all of American society to easily go places with a light and simple vehicle, and the chain of events that improved women's lives greatly would never have occurred.
Pope's goal for his company wasn't to simply make money, but to also help his community. However, his safety bicycle improved women's lives in ways no one could have expected. It completely destroyed barriers and social norms women had to follow that were embedded in society's very beliefs. For example, the average outfit for a woman of that time period was a tight corset and a blouse on top, with a petticoat underneath a wide, flowy skirt. This style of dressing was ridiculously uncomfortable and made it very difficult to even walk. But as Pope's safety bicycle became more and more popular throughout the 1800s in America, women started wearing more practical clothing, such as trousers, bloomers, and divided skirts. Pope encouraged this, using women riding his bicycles in divided skirts and other newer styles when promoting the Blue Streak Chainless. Annie Londonderry, the first female cyclist to ride around the world on the bike, was one of the many girls who changed their way of clothing because of the new safety bicycle. The Omaha World Herald reported, Miss Londonderry expressed the opinion that the advent of the bicycle will create a reform in female dress that will be beneficial. She believes that in the near future all women, whether of high or low degree, will bestride the wheel. except possibly the narrow-minded, long-skirted, lean, and lank element. In simpler words, Annie Londonderry believed that the bicycle heavily influenced women's clothing for the better by allowing more free clothing to become acceptable. Eventually, this way of dressing became the norm, leading up to the common clothing, such as pants, we see on many girls today. Without Pope's safety bicycle and his advertising, the barrier of clothing would have taken much longer to be broken, and there would not be as many lasting impacts that we see today.
Another social barrier torn down was society's view on a woman's ability to exercise. A woman exercising and becoming strong was unheard of, as women were considered feeble. Therefore, when the safety bicycle was introduced by Pope, women used it for recreational purposes and riding around for fun. The newspaper The Evening Times stated in regards to this, "A girl who rides a wheel is lifted out of herself and her surroundings. She's made to breathe purer air, see fresher and more beautiful scenes, and get an amount of exercise she would not otherwise get." Not only did a woman's health improve, but it became acceptable for women to be seen exercising out and about in society. Some organizations even started races simply for women, and this allowed them to become much more prominent in the public eye. The barriers of social norms broken still have lasting effects to this day. It is commonplace for girls and women to wear comfortable clothing like pants, and women's exercise is not only accepted but encouraged. This acceptance started a path that eventually led to further fights against discrimination and social norms.
Not only did Pope's bicycle influence women's clothing in the 19th century, but the bicycle also started a push for their rights. Before Pope invented the safety bicycle, women had no way of independent transportation. The women who worked jobs such as house cleaning for the rich used streetcars, trains, or even simply walked. Wealthy women took horses or carriages and always traveled with an escort. Both ways of traveling were not preferred by women because they were not independent or comfortable. When Pope started to manufacture safety bicycles to the public, women saw an opportunity for more freedom. Along came a vehicle that was easy to ride, keep, and tend to. The popularity of the bicycle increased dramatically and also gave many women who were considered homemakers the ability to now go out on their own, hence allowing them to get jobs. Most of society embraced the bicycle immediately. However, there were people who believed otherwise. Miss Macy tells us,
there were people, men and women, who were worried that women's virtue would be tarnished by riding a bicycle. Something could happen to her. Charlotte Smith, she was a feminist, but when it came to the bicycle, she just decided that it was horrible for women, that they would be attacked on the road. They would no longer be safe.
These people did things like print magazines, give speeches, and actively advocate against the bicycle.
However, women started to realize that the concept of independence and equal rights was not out of reach, and used the bicycle as a tool. For starters, the bicycle became a symbol of independence. It symbolized a new woman, and how the ability to freely transport yourself anywhere was liberating for females. One largely used campaign poster showed a woman with wings riding a bicycle, symbolizing the new flight that was given to women with this method of transportation. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, an active suffragette, shared, "The bicycle will inspire women with more courage, self-respect, and self-reliance, and make the next generation more vigorous of mind and of body. For feeble mothers do not produce great statesmen, scientists, and scholars." This is the exact impact the bicycle had on the female sex. As more women became courageous, they developed a stronger belief that they needed to fight for their equality with males. Pope's continued use of women in advertising and encouraging their riding also helped the movement. Many men and women who believed the bicycle did harm eventually came around by seeing his advertisements, as he was a very respected and trusted man. More and more women were finally able to push back against the discrimination they faced, which broke a barrier in unity for the women's suffrage movement. The bicycle becoming a symbol of the movement unified many activists, and they used the bicycle to propel their movement. Overall, not only did the bike change how society viewed a woman's place, it broke multiple barriers and nudged the women's suffrage movement forward, leading to the freedoms that women enjoy to this day.
Overall, the improvement and modernizations that Pope made to the bicycle brought to America a change for women that would have been set back decades without the machine. Pope's role in the road to women's suffrage lit up a pathway that set a new wave of the women's rights movement in motion. Pope's safety bicycle broke barriers in transportation and social norms, uplifting the rights of women and encouraging them as they rode on a clear path to equality.